Good morning, good morning, good morning. Happy Friday, January 13th, 2023. Good morning. How's everybody doing this morning? It's Friday. We made it. We made it to the end of a traditional work week, although some people do work weekends, but I'm going to say traditional work week. So, for that, can we give each other a high five and just do a victory lap a little bit here? Because we are tired. I know I am tired. We are tired. Working out at the gym, pushing myself a little bit harder. Got a slight injury in my calves, so I'm taking a day of respite from my traditional 9 to 5. But I made a commitment to see you. I made a commitment to motivate and encourage consistently. So this morning, as I'm dragging myself out of bed, I'm sore, I'm a little bit groggy because I'm taking some medicine to help with the muscle spasms that I'm having. And I said, Lord, what am I going to talk about this morning? Because I'm tired. I could have said Jesus wept and signed off on y'all. And those of you who are raised in a church or no scripture, you know that's the shortest scripture. In choir practice, we had to say scriptures. God bless Sophie Maxwell. We had to say Bible scriptures, and everybody would try to get that one first. Jesus wept. To the point where we couldn't say it anymore. Jesus wept. But I'm not going to limit what God has put in my heart to just Jesus wept, because he gave me so much more than just his tears that could preach. I want to talk to you this morning about persistence. Persistence, right? Pushing forward and keep going. And that's very relevant to me this morning because I had to push myself to get out of that bed. I wanted to sleep. I just wanted to roll around. I was achy. I had to push myself to get up and stretch those muscles because they hurt, because I'm so forward thinking sometimes and trying to accomplish things at an accelerated rate. I need to give my body some respite, and that's what it called for, and that's what I'm going to do, because if I don't, I'm going to crash. And this is a marathon, it's not a sprint, so I have to be able to endure this race with you guys, because we committed to doing this together. If you subscribed, it's a commitment. It's a commitment. All right, so persistence. Persistence is defined as the firm or obstinate continuance in course of action in spite of difficulty or opposition. So it's the ability, or the action rather, the ability could be, but the action of moving forward regardless to what's holding you back, regardless to what's blocking you, regardless to your challenges, to your adversity, to your soreness, to your tiredness, continuing to go forward. Persistence is similar to resilience. Continue working hard despite being faced with challenges. Are you resilient? If you put, we talked about mountains, we talked about faith. If you put a seed aside to say, this is my mountain, and this is what I'm going to focus on for the short term or the long term, right? My objective is to plant, to grow, to nurture, and then to harvest this thing, this event, this idea, so that it can become my mountain. But if you put it in the ground and then the soil hardens, would you be persistent enough to keep going? If you put it in the ground, the soil hardened, and then there was a dry season, would you be persistent enough to take water to that place and water it yourself? If weeds started to form, oh God, that could preach. If weeds started to form around whatever you planted, would you take the time daily and consistently to pull up the weeds to prevent what you planted from dying or being contaminated? Persistence. Persistence is defined or associated with being a soft skill professionally. It's not technical, but it relates to work and abilities. Are you persistent enough to stay on target to that project plan, to that KPI, key performance indicator, that was set forth by your leadership? Are you persistent enough to finish whatever that document that you needed, that PowerPoint? Are you persistent enough to look for an error in a formula in an Excel spreadsheet to see why your calculations are coming up with a variance? Persistence, right? Keep up the work. Keep up the fight. Keep going. From 2015 to 2020 were the most challenging years for me as an adult. I went through endless loss. People didn't know what I was going through, so they made assumptions. I was perceived to be things that I weren't. Then I got angry enough to act like I was. That's that rebelliousness in me. I saw my life's work just become untangled. I saw material things that I worked hard for evaporate. I went through loss. I lost loved ones. I lost friendships. My marriage ended. I went through loss. And there were moments when I was alone and I was so down and so sad that I would cry and cry. But there was something in me, there's a resilience in me that after I cry, I get angry. I don't know why God made me like that. It's a part of me being tenacious. After I cry, I get angry and I get big and I start saying, it's not going down like this. And I became very persistent. Even when I wasn't working, I would get up every day, beat my face, fix my hair, put on some perfume, and get dressed. Even if I was just going to unemployment or social services or just riding a bus or a train, I would be intentional about getting up and getting out because I knew if I created a grave or a tomb for myself emotionally, mentally, physically, spiritually, that I would go down. But God put such a fire in my bosom that even through adversity, He gave me the ability to get angry. And through my anger, it gave me that resilience to be persistent. What drives your resilience? What makes you persistent? When I think of persistence, I think of pregnancy. We all, whether we were C-section babies, whether we were natural, whether we were breech, whether our mothers needed assistance with the delivery, we are all the products of persistence. Because through conception, through pregnancy, through childbirth, produces us, right? And in order for us to be produced, to be born, we had to push. Our mothers had to push and help us out. Persistence. It hurt. Any woman who had a baby, I had C-sections. But even though I didn't have a traditional birth of pushing, the womb, the scar, the healing from a C-section makes you push afterwards, even more than someone who had a natural birth. Because a natural birth, once it's over, granted, you may have stitches and all of those types of things, but once it's over, you're immediately in a state of healing because you have the baby. When you have a C-section, you're cut, so the body has to heal, and still you have the baby, regardless to how you came to this earth. Someone had to move forward and push. And you had to push. You had to contract in the womb. You had to get uncomfortable because the space was getting tight that could preach. And you had to go forward in life. You had to push. You were persistent. You were resilient in your mother's womb. Because a lot of babies didn't make it. I've lost two. Some babies don't make it for whatever the reason, genetics, whatever the reason, some babies don't make it. So if you're here, and if you were born, and if you breathe, you are persistent in the womb. I'm about to get at time, so I'm going to make this short. I got to put some word on it. Matthew 25:23. Well done, it says, right? Because we were persistent. We planted our seeds to create our mountains. We're climbing. We're going through adversity. We're being diligent in our efforts. We're being intentional. We're isolating. We're learning some stuff. We're going to this place. We're going to this journey of liberty. And in Matthew, it reads, His Lord said to him, well done, good and faithful servant. That makes me excited. You have been faithful over a few things, and I will make you ruler over many things. That is praiseworthy. Sometimes we become frustrated because we have a desire to attain certain things. We have this big paramount perspective of things that we want to accomplish, right? And we get to a point where we become frustrated because it's not materializing the way that we anticipated. And we say, oh Lord, man, I did everything that you told me to do. I fasted, I prayed, I was faithful, I helped others, I gave. I asked for forgiveness. I repented. I did all these things. Whatever your spiritual walk requires, remember, I have to give you where I am. I did everything. I taught the kids. I fed the hungry. I gave everything, my last sometimes. How come? And sometimes, most of the time, because God is never wrong, it's a test. How can I make you president? How can I make you CEO? How can I make you a mother or a father? How can I make you an entrepreneur? How can I make you a business owner if you can't be persistent with the little things? Anybody who has done anything independently, 1099, contracted, consultant, entrepreneur, you know that it's feast or famine. You have a season where there's so much work, the money's coming in, you're shining, you're stepping, your confidence is like here. You're like, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. Greater is he that is in me than he's in the world. You're just walking in it, walking in your purpose, your destiny. And then all of a sudden, it creeps up on you. All of a sudden, famine. The locusts came, taxes. Expenses, bad employees, the locusts came. It started just eating up your profit line, your margin. You were in a black, you were celebrating, and all of a sudden you start seeing slights of red in that P&L. And you're like, what happened? It's all a part of the process. You have to keep pushing forward. You have to be resilient. You have to be trusted with a little in order to gain a lot. Persistence. Keep up the work. Keep pushing forward. Keep going. Be encouraged. Be encouraged. If you're like me this morning, I'm tired, but I'm being encouraged. I'm encouraging myself. I put on music. I put on scripture. I talk to God. I'm encouraging myself. Be encouraged. Cry if you have to. Get angry for a moment. But fix yourself up. Stand up tall. Put on your armor. And be persistent. I love you guys. I'm tired. My face is puffy, but I'm here. I showed up. Yes, I did. I'm going over. Yes, I am. But I'm here. Listen, have a great weekend. I don't plan on doing YouTube videos for this motivational channel on the weekends. I made a commitment to Travania to work with her on her platform so that we can kind of like tag team and do some remarkable things. If anyone else would like to do a collaboration regarding what your vision and your purpose is, hey, I'm willing, I'm joining. It's not about me. It's a susu. We all contribute and we all take a portion. What can I do to promote you? What can I do to motivate you? What can I do to bless you? I love you. If no one else tells you today that they love you, D loves you. Dewey loves you. I love you because we are human. And everything human needs to be loved. Be intentional. Be persistent. Be resilient. And watch where we end up next year. Have a great day. Have a great weekend. I'm going to bed. Take care.